Welcome to the balance sheet. This time, we cover a trade like no other in recent memory. Someone bet on a war, turned 30 grand into about 400,000, and walked away clean. That's not a glitch. That's the seam where prediction markets rub against national security. A brand new Polymarket wallet drops late December, takes Venezuela-only positions. Odds sit around 6 to 11% Friday night, and by Saturday morning, Maduro is in U.S. custody. Headlines chase the big win, but on-chain shows a small cluster of newly spun wallets acting in sync. No KYC name in public, just addresses. The breadcrumbs are there. The face sits behind an exchange subpoena. The internet wants a villain, but I ponder the question, if you exploit classified timing without leaking it, is that a crime? Here's the ground truth as we can verify it. A new wallet appeared on Polymarket around December 27th, funded via a U.S. exchange. It placed roughly $32,000 across a small cluster of contracts tied to Venezuela, Maduro out, in U.S. custody by January 31st, and adjacent conflict risk. Those markets had been stubbornly cheap, 5 to 11 cents on the dollar, because the crowd was pricing unlikely, not impossible. Friday night, price ticks from about 6 to 11%, volume wakes up, and within hours the raid is announced. Resolution hits. The primary wallet nets around 436,000. Fortune clocked it, BBC echoed it, Indian Express mapped the timeline. No prior trading history, no hedges, it's all conviction. Now widen the lens. On-chain analysis shows 3 newly created wallets, all focused solely on Venezuela outcomes, funded days in advance, and placed in the same window. The pattern looks coordinated, split exposure across fresh addresses, same thesis, same clock. Late account creation, tight clustering, zero diversification. Those are the fingerprints of compartmentalization. That leans to insider certainty. But keep a lane open. A disciplined outsider could have read signals, spun burner wallets, and acted with nerve. It looks like insider, but a careful OSINT operator isn't impossible. Polymarket runs on a simple engine. Every market is a yes-no share that settles to $1 if you're right and 0 if you're wrong. Price equals implied odds, so 50 cents is 50%. No magic. You connect a crypto wallet, move in USDC, and you're live. It's pseudonymous by default. The platform now has a US compliant arm with a rulebook that bans trading on non-public order info and insider behavior. But that's platform policy, not a criminal statute. CFTC watches for manipulation and contract integrity. SEC isn't in the room because these aren't equities. Now the label everyone throws around is insider trading. That's an SEC creature tied to securities and fiduciary duties. This is an event market, more like a binary option on real-world outcomes. The spirit's the same, use of material non-public info for profit. But the law isn't copy-paste. What made this smell like inside info was the posture. Brand new accounts, concentrated exposure, timing inside the operations window, and a 3-wallet spread. If you're just an OSINT grinder, you scale in, you hedge your timeline. You don't park your whole stack on a narrow clock. We've seen other suspicious clusters, bets around OpenAI model drops, a trader printing 7 figures on Google's year in search, so the audience is primed to call foul. I've watched units telegraph ops with small tells, orders shifting, fuel bowsers where they don't belong, and markets read those jitters. If this smelled like a leak, the next question is, what leak paths are actually plausible? Start with the open source haystack. Flight trackers, after the fact, showed a Puerto Rico to San Antonio hop tied to medical recovery, not pre-raid staging, but patterns can still tip the hand. You watch airframes reposition into convenient rings, tankers loitering on tidy racetracks, maritime posture shifting when a ship hugs a lane it usually ignores, embassy security posture going from relaxed to keyed up, and Spanish language chatter that overreacts to small moves. Those are tells that the orchestra is tuning. They don't give you tea time or breach order. In OPSEC reality, Real raids are compartmented hard. Principals get briefed late. And even the Hill isn't always looped. House and Senate Intel committees don't automatically see every kinetic plan on the runway. And when they do, they get sanitized windows, not triggers. The people who truly know Wheels Up and the assault stack are in a tip-of-spear bubble, and the leak risk usually lives in the tail. Logistics, fuel, comms, aviation scheduling, base services. There's been missions where the shooters had less calendar visibility than the contractor printing airfield badges. And that contractor is the one most likely to talk too much over a beer. So, plausible lone wolf scenarios look like this. A cleared worker sees unusual overtime, a vendor gets a surge order for secure radios marked urgent, a crew chief is told to prep an airframe for an odd duration mission, a security officer expands a cordon at 2 a.m., families of certain billets get a "don't plan the weekend" note. Behavioral signatures add color, travel cancellations among a small cluster, bursts of secure comms, quiet in the channels that usually hum. The old Pentagon pizza joke exists for a reason. Patterns betray intent. Even nearby bars see less traffic than usual. Could OSINT alone justify dropping 30 grand with that kind of confidence? Rare. The disciplined analysts hedge the timeline and accept being early. What we saw looked like certainty. Late account creation, a 3-wallet spread that reads like risk compartmentalization, no diversification, and timing inside the window. That leans insider. But leave room for the careful outsider. A disciplined OSINT operator could have read posture shifts, spun burners to avoid moving price, and sized up with nerve. When ops are real, comms clamp down, and the unit rumor mill goes dead silent. Anyone telling you you can just read Twitter and beat a Tier 1 clock is kidding themselves. Now here's the part that kills me. If nobody leaked a word and someone simply used timing info that they were authorized to know to place a bet, what box does that fit in legally? The surface narrative says gambling win. The deeper question is misuse. And that's where the map gets gray fast. Okay, this is where people reach for insider trading and miss the jurisdiction. SEC insider trading lives in securities world, 10b-5, fiduciary duty, misappropriation theory, none of which cleanly maps to yes-no event contracts. Prediction markets sit under the CFTC umbrella. They care about manipulation, integrity of the contract, and fraud. Polymarket's U.S. rulebook bans insider behavior. But that's a house rule. Breach it, and you can be frozen or banned. It's not handcuffs by default. Side note, yes, U.S. customers can use Polymarket, but only for sports betting. However, it's very possible that a U.S. person used the platform with a VPN to spoof their location. Since winnings were paid in crypto stablecoins, they could easily be routed to different wallets, and then eventually to a regulated exchange for the final cash out, if desired. So, if the DOJ swings at this, what's the charge? You're looking at misuse of government information, not securities fraud. The tools are espionage adjacent. Prosecutors could try the comms intel slice, 18 U.S.C. section 798, by arguing use of classified timing was prejudicial to U.S. interests. They could reach for retention, removal concepts under Section 793, Section 1924, even though those are usually document cases, or treat government information as property converted for gain under Section 641, or point to confidential disclosure rules. Section 1905. None of these were drafted for a solitary bet, but when the fact pattern is new, prosecutors improvise. Ethics rules are in plain English. Executive branch employees can't use non-public information to further private interests, per 5 CFR Section 2635.703. House Rule 23 and Senate Rule 37 say the same for the Hill, and the Code of Ethics for Government Service has blunt language. Don't use confidential info for private profit. Violations there get you administrative pain. Clearance pulled, job gone, maybe a referral for prosecution if it looked willful. Now the hard part, proof. You have to pierce the pseudonym, tie a person to the wallet, establish they had access to material non-public info, and show willful use. On-chain breadcrumbs lead to a KYC wall at an exchange. That requires subpoenas to get logs, devices, maybe eventually a confession. Lone actors are a headache. No tipper to flip, no conspiracy chat, just timing and posture. And if the subject kept their head down, paid taxes, didn't buy a Lambo, kept lifestyle flat, you lose the unexplained affluence trigger that usually starts these cases. Harm is the next hurdle. The raid succeeded. A single bet didn't compromise force protection. The prejudicial language in the law is elastic, but juries want a clean story of damage. They skimmed $400,000 off a market. Reads like savvy speculation, not sabotage. That's why you're more likely to see process crimes, false statements if they lie on disclosures, tax problems if they underreport. DOJ can even try forfeiture if they paint proceeds as derived from unlawful activity. Meanwhile, government continuously vets cleared personnel. Banks file suspicious activity reports. Sudden money movement raises flags. The quiet outcome is administrative. Yank the clearance, escort to the parking lot, lesson learned. Could the CFTC bite? Only on manipulation or fraud, spoofing, deceit, wash trades. This looks like informed timing, not mechanical abuse. Could Congress plug the seam? That's where Representative Richie Torres' Public Integrity in Financial Prediction Markets Act comes in. He seeks to bar federal employees from using material non-public info on prediction markets tied to government actions. It's forward-looking, not retroactive, but it signals appetite. Counterpoint time. Could this be OSINT plus nerve? Maybe. We've all seen long-shot prints before. My read, late account creation, a coordinated 3-wallet cluster, concentrated exposure, inside the window timing. Looks like insider certainty, not edge. But leave the door open. A disciplined outsider could have read posture and moved fast. If it ties to a clearance holder, expect an immediate administrative hammer and a creative attempt at prosecution if the facts line up. If it's a civilian with no access, it probably dies as a headline and a policy memo. Government careers can crater over a $400 travel voucher. $400,000 with a national security angle usually doesn't just fade away. If there's badges involved, somebody is getting a visit. Platforms love liquidity until it scares the adults, and the raid got a front run is a scare. Expect boring, effective moves, tighter KYC on geopolitics markets, settlement buffers around live ops, surveillance that flags new wallet, max conviction, no hedges, and faster data lanes for subpoenas. Polymarket's insider ban exists. Now it's about teeth and cooperation. Policy drifts the same direction. Torres' bill gathers co-sponsors, agencies refresh ethics briefings, inspectors general remind everyone that non-public means don't touch. Polymarket, Kalshi, and others will make no government insider trades the industry floor. For you, the rule is simple. OSINT edge is fine, but a government-sourced edge could be a career ender. If your thesis only works until a subpoena drops, it's not a thesis. And if you hold a clearance, unexplained affluence is a tripwire, not a flex. Be on the safe side, leave no signature, and walk away from gray. The moral of the story is prediction markets exposed an OPSEC seam, and greed sprinted through it. What do you think? Like and subscribe, and drop your take below.